everybody, welcome to another edition of Toddster's Magical Mystery Review. I'm your host Toddster, and today we're going to take a look at the monthly extra review, even though it's the last day of June, so better now till later. So for the monthly extra review, we're going to look at something completely different, and that is the Super Deluxe edition of Sgt. Pepper. Yes, take a look at that 3D cover. Yeah. Yes, came out 26th of May 2017, just in time for its 50th anniversary. And what can I say about this box set? It's remarkable. It's lovely, and yeah. So actually, yeah, we got 4 CDs in here, and a Blu-ray and DVD of the same kind. Yeah, and there's well, for this Super Deluxe edition, there's the stereo remix from Giles Martin, two CDs of previously unheard outtakes, and also the original mono mix of the album, and yeah. So let's take a look at the CD. So we'll talk about the new remix. As I said, remixed by Giles Martin, son of George Martin, and yet using the mono mix as the template. So like making a mono mix into a stereo mix, so to speak. Yeah, and the bass in the remix is more prominent in there. If you could listen very carefully, and yet to me, some remixes are very similar to some of the ones on the Love soundtrack. Most notably Lucy in the Sky and A Day in Our Life. And yet the vocals, especially the double track vocals, are very spread apart, and yeah. So mostly, it's a great improvement from the original mix. Even though Lucy in the Sky and She's Leaving Home are in the very speed mode, which was in the mono mix, which is a little bit odd, but anyway, yeah. So that's the remix, and then we go into the sessions, the 2 session CDs, and we start off with well, actually, I should mention that that there's many different versions of this, and one is the standalone remix, and then there's the two disc edition with the remix, and a version of the outtakes, but presented in a sort of like an alternative way of an alternative version of Pepper, and we got this, and these two, oh, there we are, and these two CDs are in chronological order. So we start off with Strawberry Fields Forever, and we have takes 1, 4, 7, 26, and a remix, and this is one of the many reasons to get this deluxe set, and take 1 is we heard take 1 on the anthology version, but this version is a much more improvement. Like as we hear the harmonies, which we didn't hear on the anthology version, which is pretty amazing. And take 4 is a nice outtake, and yet takes 7 and 26, which were used for the master takes, are in their entirety, which is another bonus. And yet the remix is another great improvement. And then we go into take 2 of When I'm 64, which is just the band, without the oboes and the overdub backing vocals, which is very nice to hear. And then we get into Penny Lane, which is take 6, vocal overdubs and the remix. And take 6 is an instrumental take, which is sort of gets more deep once you hear it. As we hear, multiple pianos and very speed drums, high speed drums, which when I first heard it, very blown away. And then the overdubs are just Paul and George, figuring out the harmonies and the arrangements, while clapping along. And then and the remix, again, is fantastic. And then we go into A Day in the Life. Yeah, we hear take 1, 2, the orchestra overdub, the hum last chord, which was the original way to end the song, and the piano chord. And this is another reason to get the deluxe set. We hear the famous take 1, Sugar Plum Fairy, Sugar Plum Fairy, unedited and in its full glory. And take 2 is a similar approach, and the orchestra overdub is exciting to hear by itself, and the hum chord is also fascinating to hear, as with the last piano chord, as we hear all 9 attempts to achieve the chord, and it's absolutely wonderful. And then we get into takes 1 and 9 of Sgt. Pepper, and take 1 is a instrumental take, nice outtake, and then take 9 is part of the master take, without the sound effects and the French horns, which is also fascinating to hear. And just wait till you hear Paul's little ad-lib singing at the end. And then we hear takes 1 and 8 of Good Morning, Good Morning. After a breakdown of take 1, take 8 is the same version that we hear on the anthology. Just the band without the horns and the solo and the animal sound effects. And then so that's the first outtake CD, and then we go into the second one, and we hear Fixing a Hole, takes 1 and 3. Take 1 is part of the master take, but without the guitars, and then take 3 has a similar approach with a more jazzy harpsichord solo. And then we hear Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, take 4 and 7. And take 4 is another interesting outtake, and we hear take 7 in its entirety, very different from the anthology version. And then take 9 of Lovely Rita, and also this is also used for the master before the overdubs were recorded in its original key before they slowed it down. And then we hear Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, takes 1 and 5. And take 1 is it in its entirety with no edits, unlike its anthology counterpart. And then we hear similar take of take 5. And then we hear Getting Better, takes 1 and 12. And take 1 is an instrumental take, as well as take 12, which was used for the master. And then we hear Within You Without You, take 1. And then we hear George coaching the musicians. And take 1 is the Indian instrumental, which was in which you hear the solo part actually played at the end. And then we hear George working with the musicians on the song. And then we hear She's Leaving Home, takes 1 and 6, and both are instrumental takes, with take 1 as its master take. And lovely to hear those extra cello parts which were cut out at the end of the choruses. And yet I wish they would put out the original vocal line, which has a lost harmony line from Paul. And then we hear With a Little Help from My Friends, takes 1 and 2, instrumental take, which features a rare take of all 4 guys working together, which was very rare when they were making this album, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like Paul on piano, George on guitar, John on cowbell, and Ringo on drums. And then we hear, and then finally we hear the Sgt. Pepper reprise, take 8, which is sort of, just a rundown of the reprise. And then we get to the mono remaster of the album, and this is what the Beatles intended it to be. And the remaster is clear as a whistle, and yet it includes some bonus tracks, mono mixes of Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, and lost unused original mono mixes of A Day in the Life, Lucy in the Sky, and She's Leaving Home, and the promo mix of Penny Lane with the little extra trumpet at the end, which is not in the best quality in my opinion. I've heard better versions than this, but yeah. So that's the album. But so let's take a look what we get in this. In this package, we get the master tape. Well, not really. It's just a box. Yeah, and also, oh yeah, and I should mention the DVD and Blu-ray, which is the 5.1 remix of the album. And also we get the promo films of Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, and A Day in the Life. And also, this is the kicker, the Making of Sgt. Pepper documentary, which was made for its 25th anniversary. So yeah, so yet we got this. Almost looks like you get the album, but once you open it, it's just the discs here, and yet we get all sorts of stuff here. Couple of posters right here. There we go, and the Mr. Kite poster here. And there we go, and the cutouts as well, and also this wonderful book here. Yeah, so I'll just skim through a few pages here, and yeah, so yeah, it's like wonderful liner notes here, and all that, and wonderful stuff here, and so what to say about this So about this box set. Whoa, what a box set this is. Yeah, and the the remix is in top notch, and the outtakes are astounding. And yet, I wish they would have done this with the previous albums. I mean, can you imagine what it'd be like with Rubber Soul or Revolver Deluxe set? And yet, later this year, we're supposed to get the White Album give deluxe treatment. So we'll see about that. And as far as my rating, I'm gonna give this 5 Beatles. Yes, 5 Beatles. And let me see, who would be the 5th Beatle? Yeah, well, I would say Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's the 5th Beatle. So yeah, so there you have it. The Super Deluxe edition of Sgt. Pepper. And so, my name is Toddster, and you just watched another magical mystery review. And we'll see you next time. Until then, toodaloo!